Here's Brody Brazil.
Well, I got to tell you straight up, we haven't even seen it for a full week yet, but I already love MLB's new pitch timer. And I say we haven't seen it for more than a week. I mean, it has existed during spring training. It did exist last season in the minor leagues. It was tested, it was experimented, it was played with, it was talked about. So it's not new by any means, but it is new in a sense of a big league, regular season, games that count, things that matter, and we've implemented literally a clock on a Major League Baseball field. This is something that even 2 years ago, I never thought we would ultimately see this soon and this real. But I have to tell you, I love it for a variety of reasons. Here I am in this video to share the 5 best parts of this new pitch timer. Beginning with this, strategy and urgency. They happen now with every at-bat. And no disrespect to games and seasons of yesteryear, but there were monotonous points of a game, an at-bat, an inning that just, it lacked pace. It lacked any kind of intensity in the moment. Hard to really stay paying attention. Honestly, sometimes I'm going to check my phone. I'm going to have a conversation. And baseball is a conversational sport. You watch it kind of while you're doing something else. Even at a game, talking to whoever's next to you while you watch the game. So it's meant to have a conversational pace, but now the times they've selected, 30 seconds between batters, 20 seconds between pitches if there's runners on, 15 seconds on the clock if bases are empty, it just feels right. And it feels like just enough time so that the pitcher has to keep the pace going. And the batter has to be dug in and ready for the pitch in the batter's box with 8 seconds left. Otherwise, it's a strike. Or if the pitcher doesn't deliver, it's an automatic ball. So every single at-bat, it's got strategy, it's got timing. We're not only having a pitcher-batter matchup, but we're doing so with an expiration on it. And the clock is ticking for both of those individuals. I love that. I think the times that they picked, they're nice round numbers, so they're easy to remember. But honestly, I think they nailed the pace of this. You understand, if it was longer times, it may not have the same effect. And if it was too quick, there'd be way too many violations and everybody complaining right now. So I love the pace, I love the urgency, and I love the strategy of every at-bat. I also think that in the bigger scale, forget the small view of this, the wide view is this: every game now has an efficient pace. We were talking about games 3 hours and 10, 15 minutes last year, which was among the longest in Major League modern history. 3 hours and 10 minutes for every game, that's getting up there. This season here in 2023, games on average are already about 30 minutes shorter. And for me, and a lot of reasons, I know players will say, well, we love this game because it never had a clock. But this game is not only for the players, it's also for the fans. It's especially for the next generation. And if they're not able to stay up until 10:15 for the final out, even 10:45, 11 o'clock if there's extra innings, 5 weeknights, it's difficult to get the next generation invested. So fan-friendly, kid-friendly, the action to time ratio, like the clock, it kind of endorses play and moving the game along in an efficient manner. So you're getting shorter games with more action in that shorter period of time. So the action to time ratio is definitely boosted in favor of the fans. Granted, I know a lot of people will say, well, yeah, you're the guy who hosts the post-game show. Of course, you'd rather have the post-game shows start sooner. But yeah, I would, not necessarily because it makes my day shorter, but because more of you are actually awake at an earlier time. You're not completely ready to go to bed, so you might stick around and watch the post-game show because the game was just a little bit quicker. So urgency and pace, 2 things about time. I also think the strategy in the moment goes like this. The pitch clock benefits whichever team has momentum. And think about this. A pitcher who can't find the strike zone. Well, guess what? You don't have the opportunity to step off the mound, do a quick lap around it, gain your mental and physical composure. You can't do that. I mean, a hitter does get a timeout per at-bat, but you can't take more than that. You can't take an extra large amount of time to pause the situation. The hitters, they cannot own the rhythm by taking that 1 timeout. If they used to take 3 timeouts, okay. They get to kind of control the pace and the flow of the at-bat. But instead, I really feel like it's whoever has momentum. If a team is starting a rally and the pitcher can't find the strike zone. Again, you don't get the chance to slow things down and own the moment. You've got to go, and sometimes that's going to hurt you, the person who is struggling in the moment. So momentum goes to really whoever's got it, and I think they're benefited by that extra momentum. I also like this with the pitch timer, excuse me. We often talk about the hitter-pitcher relationship. Like it's that one-on-one battle. It's those two humans and a clock. But in reality, when you have base runners on, whether it's a runner on first and third, first and second and third, whatever it is, now it's the pitcher and the hitter and a base runner or two or three. And that pitcher has to delegate his time between, okay, I obviously have to get my sign. I got to, sync up with the batter here to deliver this pitch before time expires. But if I am going to check the runners, I'm going to make sure that they don't have tremendous leads. You got to do all of that and deliver the pitch in a proper time. So base runners adding to the complexity of the pitch timer, I think make it even more fascinating. And there's also the whole thing about disengagements, right? You can't step off the mound more than twice. Otherwise, the third time you do, you've got to pick off the runner. If you're actually going to step off, you got to make a throw over there and pick off the runner. Otherwise, the penalty. So I love base runners adding to the pitch timer. That's something I don't think we've even talked about enough yet. I also think that it's easy to see the violations. We all understand what a clock is. It's there for everybody to see. It's on our screen graphically. It's depicted multiple places in the stadium so that the pitcher can see, each dugout can see, the hitter can see, the catcher can see, the umpire can see. In fact, the home plate umpire is in charge of the pitch timer. So I like the fact that everybody's figured this out. It's clear cut, but that violations, they've not been happening a lot. I think it was 0.8 violations per game across the first weekend of baseball. And that number is only going to go down week after week and month after month. You know that players, pitchers, hitters, they're all going to figure this out just a little bit better. So I like that we're not seeing 4 violations a game. Quite honestly, again, if time was too short and we're seeing these strikes without pitches thrown or balls without pitches thrown, I think that's ridiculous. This doesn't happen a lot, but when it does, we all know about it. We understand it. There's no arguing it. It's a fair but costly violation. So good adaptations by baseball to introduce this, and good adaptations by the players to actually, play by the rules and not make this more of a thing. But the only question is here, what about the postseason? Let me try that again. What about the postseason? Actually, can I try it one more time? I think I've got even something better here. What about the postseason?
What about the postseason? What about the postseason?
What about the postseason?
Okay, back to the topic. What about the postseason? In the NHL, they instituted 3-on-3 overtime to try and finish a regular season game, to make it quicker, the end of a game quicker. And then the shootout to end a game, to end a regular season game quicker. But they don't do that in the playoffs. They go back to the old school rules. You keep playing 5-on-5 as it is until the finish. And baseball has something similar, right? The courtesy runner, which we see in the regular season, runner on second for every extra inning. Obviously in the playoffs, that's not a thing anymore. So what about the postseason? There has been talk, and I know there will be talk as we approach the late summer months of 2023. People have their opinions on the pitch timer. Has it been good? Has it been bad? Has it changed it too much? I'm here to say I think it's great, but maybe I'll have a different opinion later this summer. What about the postseason? How do we handle the pitch timer in the postseason, potentially for the very first time? Is it something we'll really want for the most important games, including the World Series? That's my only real reservation right now. Again, I think it's perfect for the regular season. I guess time will tell if it's also perfect for the playoffs. So, my 5 best parts about Major League Baseball's pitch timer. I hope that you agree. Hope all this made sense. Leave some comments down below. Thumbs up on this video if you really liked it. And don't forget, subscribe to the channel so that I can see you next time.